In Paris, Vincent and Sophie, a married couple, run a butcher shop, but it's not thriving. The shop has few customers, and those who do visit get frustrated by Vincent's odd habit of massaging the meat. One day, a group of vegan activists attacks the shop, throwing paint, breaking things, and defacing the walls. Vincent chases after them and manages to tackle one to the ground, but the others return and push him away, kicking him before fleeing. Later, the couple visits friends Stephanie and Mark, only to learn that the bank has refused them a loan and bankruptcy is imminent. While Stephanie initially expresses sympathy, she soon brags about her husband, Mark's successful butcher shop. During dinner, Mark shows off his wealth and gives Vincent a gun as a gift for shop protection. Vincent is hesitant since he doesn't have a permit, but Mark insists and even demonstrates by shooting a toy in the pool. On their way home, Sophie suggests they separate, citing the boredom in their marriage and that she wants someone more exciting. Vincent, however, is distracted when he notices one of the activists riding a bicycle nearby. He abruptly stops the car and chases after him, but in the process, accidentally runs him over and kills him. Horrified, Vincent wants to call the police, but Sophie points out that his alcohol consumption and the gun in the trunk would lead to a life sentence. Sophie suggests they copy a famous serial killer who dismembered victims and dumped the body parts in garbage bags around the city. Soon, Vincent has the dead man on his butcher's table, cutting him up with his tools. As he chops, an ear falls off and the dog eats it, barking for more. After finishing, Vincent goes to the bedroom, where Sophie is watching another crime documentary. She tells him to sleep on the couch since they're separated now. The next morning, Vincent rushes to the shop only to find Sophie has sold the human meat, thinking it was ham. When a client returns, raving about the meat, Vincent tries to sell her something else, but she insists on more of that ham. Sophie doesn't understand the issue, so Vincent claims he switched suppliers and she wants to try the new ham. After the client leaves, Sophie demands the truth. Once she hears it, she's initially shocked, but quickly changes her mind, suggesting they sell the entire body to cover up the evidence. Soon rumors of the Iranian pork spread, and the shop is flooded with customers. Even an officer comes in to buy some. The couple continues selling the human meat, profiting for the first time in a while. That night, Vincent enjoys the last bit of human meat, and Sophie suggests they should start killing people to keep the shop alive. Vincent thinks it's a joke, but Sophie is serious. The next day, their daughter Chloe introduces them to her vegan boyfriend, Lucas, who claims he respects meat eaters and isn't like the extremists who attack the shop. However, Vincent and Sophie are shocked when Chloe reveals she's become vegan too. Lucas won't eat anything that isn't vegan, including mushrooms cooked in chicken juice or wine made with crushed grapes. After the couple leaves, Vincent becomes frustrated and agrees to start killing people. They visit a vegan restaurant, scoping out potential victims. They decide on the large cook, but when they follow him home and Vincent prepares to strike, the man screams and Vincent panics, running away. Back in the car, he tells Sophie that the man defended himself. Sophie, seeing through the lie, insists they need a better plan and shares more ideas from the crime documentaries she's been watching. The following day, they travel to another town and pose as vegan activists outside a grocery store. After a brief confrontation with a man, they meet a fellow vegan who congratulates them. The man starts ranting against the system, forcing Sophie to yell something offensive to get him to leave. Later, a friendly vegan joins them, and they agree to meet to discuss activism. But when the man arrives with two others, Vincent and Sophie realize they're outnumbered. The trio reveals plans to attack a meat processing plant, and Vincent decides to join them, ignoring Sophie's objections. On their trip to the meat plant, the activists hand out masks, and one of them finds Vincent suspiciously familiar. To distract him, the couple claims to be florists. When they arrive at the meat plant, Sophie is shocked to discover it's Mark's business. She stays outside as a lookout while Vincent joins the group, having a blast, vandalizing the place, starting a fire, and even urinating on a photo of Mark. Later, at a restaurant, Sophie scolds Vincent for betraying their friends, but Vincent defends his actions, arguing that large chains like Mark's hurt small businesses more than vegans. He orders a steak but loses his appetite, stating it doesn't taste as good as human meat. He refuses to kill again, and Sophie taunts him, calling him a coward and accusing him of only relying on her when things get tough. Her words anger Vincent, who nearly strikes her with a fork but stops himself and announces their relationship is over before leaving. Sophie ends up chatting with the waiter, and they bond over their shared love of crime documentaries. He offers her a ride home, and when they arrive, he notices the butcher shop. The waiter finds it ironic that a vegan is giving a ride to a butcher and flirts with Sophie and kissing her. Sophie, hungry for more, bites his tongue and invites him inside to clean up. While the waiter is in the bathroom, Sophie taunts Vincent by explaining the kiss in detail, making him jealous. Vincent starts sharpening his knife in anger, but Sophie reminds him that the best meat comes from relaxed cows. She decides to massage the waiter to prepare him, pushing Vincent to agree to kill him by threatening divorce. When Vincent finds the waiter naked, thinking it's part of a game, he becomes enraged and beats the man to death. Chloe returns home unexpectedly, and Vincent quickly washes his face with fishbowl water while Sophie hides the body. Chloe reveals she broke up with Lucas, believing that her eating meat secretly made her unworthy of a vegan. She insists on staying with her parents and having dinner with them. Panicking, Vincent and Sophie convince her to try again with Lucas, claiming he's a good guy. After Chloe leaves, the couple cleans up the blood and together they slice up the body. As they work, they start to feel their bond strengthening. They dispose of the waiter's body and later sleep on the couch together. The next morning, Stephanie and Mark visit them for moral support after discovering the destroyed shop. Sophie feels guilty at first, but her feelings change when Stephanie continues mocking Vincent's business. Officer Tack arrives and explains that the destruction was the work of the same activists who attacked their shop. He also privately asks for more Iranian pork. That afternoon, a long line forms outside their shop, and the entire body is sold within hours. Sophie assures customers there will be more tomorrow. Later, they kidnap the cook from the vegan restaurant and kill him in the bathtub, though Vincent hesitates before finally going through with it. As days go by, the couple continues killing vegans using different methods. Vincent stops hesitating and starts enjoying the thrill of the hunt. Business booms and long lines form at the shop every day. Their bond grows stronger as they work together, and murder becomes a routine. One night, they invite a vegan man to help trash a meat plant. As the man chooses a mask, Vincent readies his knife, but the man spots him, kicks him, and runs away. The couple chases him through the forest but loses sight of him. Sophie thinks their adventure is over, but Vincent hears movement in the darkness. Then Sophie calls the man's phone, and the ringtone reveals his location. The activist panics and tries to flee, but trips and falls. When Vincent and Sophie check on him, they realize he's already dead, likely from a heart attack triggered by fear. The next day, they share the steaks made from the heart attack victim with Stephanie and Mark. The couple enjoys the meat, but when Mark takes another bite, he discovers a piece of metal in it. Stephanie recognizes it as a pacemaker. Vincent quickly explains it's actually a microchip used by farmers to track livestock. An argument ensues, and when Stephanie and Mark continue mocking their small shop, Vincent finally gains the courage to stand up for himself, insulting their entire lifestyle. Mark angrily jumps on Vincent, and the two start fighting in the garden, ignoring their wives. Vincent tackles Mark into the pool and, without thinking, bites off Mark's ear, chewing it. When Stephanie scolds him, Vincent spits the ear out, pretending it was disgusting and claiming he was just making a point. Inspired by a leopard documentary, Vincent starts mimicking animal camouflage and running techniques to hunt victims more efficiently. He watches more animal documentaries, learning how to choke people like a snake. Some nights, their hunger for human meat gets so intense that they become excited and end up getting intimate. One afternoon, while having a barbecue picnic, a man complains about the smoke and the smell of burning corpses. Since it's his favorite yoga spot, the couple pretends to agree to leave but ends up killing him instead. Later, they attend a vegan event to scout for new victims. Vincent is tempted by a chubby boy but recoils, disturbed by his own thoughts about harming children. They bump into Chloe and Lucas and pretend to have gone vegan, only selling meat for financial reasons. Lucas mentions the recent disappearances of vegans and suspects the Union of Farmers or the Butchers Guild is responsible. Lucas kicks them out, calling them butchers, which is overheard by the activist who had previously trashed Mark's store. As they leave, Sophie notices a black woman and points out she's a flavor they haven't tried yet. Vincent, deciding to break his no-killing women rule, decides to go after her. That night, while slicing her, Vincent's knife breaks. He heads to the shop for a new one, but when he returns, Officer Inak is knocking at the door. Inak explains he was just curious to see the lights on after hours. Vincent quickly hides the situation, claiming to be working late. When the dog appears with a human hand in its mouth, Vincent yells at it to scare it off, telling Inak he has PTSD from the previous shop attack. Inak mentions the missing vegans before leaving. Vincent tells Sophie that he disposed of the woman's body because he fears Inak suspects something. Sophie, however, wants to continue killing, aiming to break records set by the most famous serial killers. Their argument is interrupted by a doorbell. It's Lucas apologizing for his outburst and admitting he feels like he's losing Chloe. Sophie suggests he stay and relax, which makes Vincent realize she plans to kill him. Furious, Vincent kicks Lucas out and tells Sophie that their Iranian pork business is over. That night, Sophie tries watching another documentary but gets frustrated and turns it off while Vincent sleeps on the couch with the dog. The next day, Vincent tries to sell regular beef, but the line of customers quickly disappears when they hear there's no more Iranian pork. Sophie calls him a coward, and Vincent, feeling unappreciated, leaves. Later, while Sophie is closing the shop, activists show up asking about the florists. When Vincent comes home, he finds the dog barking at the activist man. Inside, the activists have tied Sophie up in a butcher's fridge and threatened to treat her as animals are treated. When one activist is about to kill Sophie, Vincent bursts in with his dog, which immediately attacks the man, injuring Vincent in the process. Vincent throws a knife at a woman, killing her instantly, and fights the last activist, who overpowers him and stabs him with his own knife. Furious, Sophie manages to free herself using a meat hook to kill the remaining attacker, while the dog finishes off the last activist. Later, a documentary is made about Sophie and Vincent, with Stephanie and Mark being interviewed. Their statements helped lead the police to the couple's arrest. They continue to make racist comments about Officer Inak, claiming that without the pacemaker, the couple would have never been caught. Sophie and Vincent receive life sentences, and at the end of their trial, the judge asks if they have any regrets. Sophie's only regret is killing the man with a pacemaker.